The Toronto Blue Jays have a major problem that could cost them the entire 2025 season, and it feels like that problem isn't going away anytime soon. The Blue Jays bullpen is something we can't avoid talking about anymore. That bullpen has an ERA of 4.83, which ranks 28th in Major League Baseball. To put it in perspective, folks, that's only 0.04 points better than the Chicago White Sox, who are on pace to have the worst MLB record in history. And no matter how good your offense is or your starting rotation, if you can't hold down a lead, then you're not going to be winning very many games. And if the Blue Jays front office is serious about competing in 2025, then they cannot do it with this bullpen. And the unfortunate reality is, it's not a one-fix solution either. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. In this one, we're going to be breaking down what the Blue Jays bullpen is going to look in 2025 and what the Blue Jays need to do this offseason in order to restore it. Before we get into it, though, I encourage you to hit that like button and subscribe to Blue Jays Today to stay up to date with the latest Blue Jays news and content. So as of right now, the only pitchers that are in that bullpen locked in for 2025 is Genesis Cabrera, Chad Green, and Brandon Little. And honestly, those guys aren't bad pieces, but I wouldn't necessarily want them to be closing out ball games for my club in 2025. Now, there are two other pitchers that could be returning next season that are two big question marks, and that is Jordan Romano and Eric Swanson. Now, Jordan Romano and Eric Swanson's seasons have been pretty atrocious with the injuries and the performances. And the big problem with those guys is that they're entering their final years of arbitration, and this is where things could get very, very expensive. Jordan Romano earned $7.75 million this season for a guy who only pitched 13 poor quality innings before getting injured yet again. And if the Blue Jays want to keep Jordan Romano, then they might need to pay this guy over $10 million next season. And from a return on investment standpoint, are you really about to pay over $10 million for a guy who only gave you 13 innings and didn't perform well and is coming off a huge injury season? If they don't want to do that, then the option is to non-tender Jordan Romano, making him a free agent. But then again, that does open up another hole in this already decimated Blue Jays pen. And if we really think about it, Romano does have a proven track record being the Blue Jays closer for the last 5 seasons. And really, are the Blue Jays in a position to be picky on who's in this bullpen at this point? Personally, if it looks like he's progressing in his rehabilitation and it looks like he might be back to his former self next season, then you might have no other choice but to offer him over $10 million because it's just out of pure necessity. Now, Eric Swanson is another one of those guys who's had a disappointing season mixed in with some injuries and some tragic life events. And while he's also entering into his final year of arbitration, he's not going to be as expensive as Jordan Romano. Eric Swanson got paid $2.75 million this past season, and it looks like his pay upgrade is going to be around that $4 to $6 million range. However, on the positive side of things, Eric Swanson's season has been progressively getting better. In the second half, he's pitched for an ERA of 3.18 and a whip of 1.29. Now, this of course feels like an obvious tender of a contract because you got to give Eric Swanson another shot, especially after what you gave up to trade for him. All right, so that's 5 guys that can fill out the Blue Jays bullpen, but you still got 3 other spots to fill. So where are the Blue Jays going to find these other relievers? Looking internally, the options are just not that great for the Blue Jays. The only guy I could really see contending internally for a bullpen spot next year is Hagen Danner. The Blue Jays might take a shot with Hagen Danner because he's been dancing around on that 40-man roster for a few seasons now, and it might be time for them to shoot that bullet. However, Hagen Danner only posted a 4.31 ERA so far in 30 games in Buffalo. So if you ask me, I think the solution is going to come externally on the free agency market or maybe even the trade market. I could make an entire video just breaking down the reliever free agency pool, but just to sum it up really quickly, it looks like you've got a lot of 30-year-old reliever pitchers who are veterans with some proven track records, some not so proven track records, and then you've got Devin Williams, the stud closer out of Milwaukee, and if he doesn't get picked up by the Milwaukee Brewers, then he's going to get paid a lot of money this offseason. Which brings me to my next point. It's going to cost the Blue Jays an arm and a leg if they want to repair this bullpen with just guys from the free agency pool. Looking at a lot of these guys' projected market values, it looks like they're going to get paid between the 10 to 15 to hell, even the upwards $20 million per year mark. So if the Blue Jays want to add 3 reliable, trustworthy, veteran, proven guys, it's going to cost them $40 to $50 million. And are the Blue Jays willing willing to spend that amount of money on just 3 veteran relief pitchers?
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Well, that leads us to an even larger problem for the Toronto Blue Jays is how much money do they even have to spend this offseason? They're going to have to spend a lot more than they did last offseason to not only just restore this bullpen, but restore this entire baseball team. They might need to allocate a large part of that budget towards getting that bullpen filled up. And of course, the Blue Jays could also consider the trade market as they acquired a ton of young prospects this trade deadline, so they might want to consider shipping off some of their farm system guys for maybe some controllable bullpen pieces. In conclusion, guys, there's a lot of problems with this Blue Jays bullpen, and there's no one right answer to fix it. But I can assure you guys, if the Blue Jays are serious about contending next season, then get ready for some major splashes this offseason. But you guys let me know in the comments down below, what do you think the Blue Jays should do to fix this bullpen? Thank you so much for watching, and as always, guys, go Jays go!